Good afternoon. Welcome back to my Dr. Chow's YouTube channel. I'm a board member of Howard County Board of Education. I'm beginning interviewing Howard County Public School graduates, and I want them to share their experience with incoming high school students or for students who are in the school system. I hope this experience will help our students in our school system right now. Now let's welcome Miss Robin M. Robinson. She graduated from Howard County Public School System, River Hill High School in 2018. Right now in Harvard University studying statistics. Okay, let's welcome Miss Robinson. Miss Robinson, can you have a short self-introduction?
Sure. Again, my name is Robin. I currently attend Harvard University. I'm a rising junior studying statistics with a secondary in economics. Just like some random things about me. I love playing volleyball, and I'm really involved in like the cultural organizations of my school. And like Dr. Wu said, I graduated from River Hill in 2018. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you. And when I searched your name online, I found you have been kind of quoted by a lot of athletic club in River Hill, right? You're a big participant in this kind of sports in the school?
Yeah, when I was at River Hill, I was on the varsity volleyball team for my last 2 years, and I, yeah, that was one of my main commitments.
I see. Thank you. Thanks for sharing your experience. So I have some questions for you. So what's your biggest challenge in your like senior year when you're in high school? How did you overcome them?
It was definitely crafting my college essay because I knew it would be the most important aspect of my application and it would make me stand out. And the English teachers at River Hill really did a good job with like helping, like walking you through the process and helping you think of ideas and editing your essays. But yeah, I would say that really kind of stressed me out because I knew it was really important.
That's great. I think you made it great, right? You went to a school you love and you committed and now you're studying there.
Yeah.
So what was your biggest challenge in your whole high school? How did you overcome that?
Right. So it was definitely keeping up with my friends. My friends in high school were definitely at the top of the class and, you know, they did whatever they could to get perfect grades and good leadership positions and like did whatever they could to stand out. And I personally felt pressured to keep up with them and take similar classes, like 7 AP classes in my junior year and 7 in my senior year. And like, you know, find good leadership positions. And that definitely came with a lot of pressure and stress to be good or better than them.
So it's kind of peer pressure to be excellent.
Yeah, and I don't regret having friends like that because if I didn't have friends like them, then I feel like I wouldn't have improved as much as I did from my freshman to my senior year.
I see. I'm glad to hear that. So what your experience do you consider to be the most unique academically in your high school year?
Um, it's hard to think of unique experiences at River Hill because, you know, River Hill is such a great school and, you know, it was top ranked in the county. So what you get, like, the effort that you put into it is what you'll get out of it. So I definitely made a lot of effort to have good relationships with my teachers. So I definitely think that was the most unique experience I've had is having these amazing teachers that just like supported me throughout my whole high school career.
I see. Thanks. So let's talk about your extracurricular activities. For example, the volleyball, right? So
Mm-hmm.
can you share more about that?
Yeah, so outside of school, I played club volleyball for 5 years, and that was what I did off season. And then I did taekwondo for 10 years. That was one of my main things. And then I was a volunteer at the University of Maryland Shock Trauma Center. But then in school, I was playing varsity volleyball, and also I was the warden of service for the National Honor Society and the co-president of the Black Leadership Union and the president of the Delta Scholars.
That's a lot of responsibilities. Do you still play volleyball at a college?
Yeah, I just play club volleyball because, you know, less commitment, more time to study and stuff like that. Yeah.
I see. So do you have any advice to share with incoming high school students or the high school students who are in the school right now?
Um, for incoming freshmen, I would say like to try to be as well-rounded as possible. That means like join a lot of clubs and decide which ones you want to devote your time to later in your high school career. I would also say like create good relationships with your high school teachers because their recommendations could give you that added push in your applications. But also just like, you know, the high school teachers at any high school, they're all interesting and they all add value to your experience somehow.
Mm-hmm. I see. So when you joined high school, when like several years ago, right? Now 6 years ago, right? So maybe your parents and give you some advice or friends, right? So which kind of advice do you feel is valid and which advice kind of not so true?
Right. So when I was applying to college, I remember my guidance counselor told me to apply to schools that were in my score range. And like, so he recommended that I didn't apply to the top 10 schools or anything like that. And they definitely didn't think I would get accepted into Harvard. And, you know, I didn't listen to them and I just applied anyway because like that was a chance that like, you know, it wouldn't hurt to take that chance, you know what I mean? And yeah, so I would say like your advisors are there to advise you, but like sometimes you can like take that risk if you want. And I would say like my, you know, I don't think my teachers really gave me useful advice, but they were there for me to like support me when writing the letter of recommendation and just like helping me edit my essays. But I wouldn't say like the support came from the adults in my life. It kind of just like indirectly came from my friends because, you know, they were applying to hard schools. So I was like, I got to do this too because I want to see if I'm capable of doing it. And it turned out that I was, and like I was really proud of that. So
Sure, I feel so glad you really tried that because you know if you don't try it, you never know, right? You're a
yeah,
great student, you got a lot, great academically, and you have been a leadership position in the school, right? I think you sometimes you just need to try something maybe different from your teachers, maybe from your parents, and you did that and you achieved that, right? I'm so glad you tried that.
Thank
That's
you.
great. So sometimes you just need to maybe follow your heart, right? Great. And how do you feel about the college? And right now you have been in college for second years, right? Second year. And what's your plan? Like now you're studying statistics, and what's your career goal? Have you ever think about that?
Yeah, I mean, like when I came into college, my straight shot goal was to be a pre-med and go to medical school, but then I definitely obviously changed my mind. And ever since I changed my mind, I've always felt a little lost because there are so many things I could do. Um, and I mean, that's why I kind of majored in statistics and like a secondary in economics because that really opens a lot of doors for me. Um, but right now, my plan is to get my master's degree in data science at the end of my senior year of Harvard. And then I'm still deciding between like continuing my education to get a PhD or an MBA or just head to work and go back to school later.
I see. I'm a senior data scientist. Maybe I can give you some advice in the future.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, that's great. It's a combination about like data science and the economics. I think that has a huge and great career potential. And
Hmm.
I hope after 2 years, you'll find so many different opportunities facing you.
Yeah.
Based on your experience at HCPSS, right?
Hmm.
So which kind of stuff you think the school can change, can improve?
Um, like as a biracial person, the racial issues definitely stood out to me more than other people at my school. Um, and I definitely believe that HCPSS has a problem with racial division. And it was really apparent in my high school with people making microaggressions here and there and like applying these stereotypes, insulting at times. And I think these things happen because there's a lack of historical education in the primary school and like elementary school, middle school. So I definitely think restructuring the historical education could somewhat help with the racial issues in the high school, like start them early and like try to get them in a more like reasonable mindset. Um, yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. I think definitely the school system should do more to really to educate our students when they were young. I think it's the time really they
Mm.
began to learn something different from them,
Right.
different family background, different culture background, even
Mhm.
different religious background, right? And as long as the school provided that kind of education, I hope they will not have a kind of stereotype or just try
Yeah.
to judge people by their skin color. Instead,
Right.
just talk to them, understand them. That will help them to open the door for many different knowledge, right?
Hmm.
Sorry,
And
can you just hold for a minute?
oh, sure.
Sorry for that. My daughter said she want to provide some music as background. Yeah, I definitely believe our school system should really do more to help that. I think there now nationwide there's a conversation on the racial topics, right? We need to think about how the school system should improve in this area.
Yeah, and like thinking more of a larger scale, when you really look at it, HCPSS is kind of um, racially divided. Like you can tell, like from the schools like Wild Lake and Oakland Mills, Longreach, like if you compare the distribution in those schools with schools like River Hill and Centennial, you can see a huge difference. And then you compare the rank and the racial distribution, there's a huge difference. And I remember that parents had a huge problem with the redistricting and how that would affect the high ranked schools and the housing prices. And I just think it's a huge problem, but I still think Howard County should start to still think about redistricting because like you can, if there's a possibility to give underrepresented children and underrepresented children a better education at one of the best schools in Maryland, then I'm all for that. And I still believe that Howard County should keep like pushing that idea. But that's all I have to say about that.
I see. Thank you. So, do you have like some very special experience in college you want to share with the student who has not been in college yet?
Um,
Or moment is a surprise for you. You thought about college, but when you're in college, maybe it's totally different from what you think about.
yeah. So I think a lot of like non-academically, a lot of people when they go to college have a really like start to get anxious about making friends. And I went to I'm at a school where no one from my high school went to, so I was starting from scratch. And I definitely want to like let people know that at most schools, they try to like give you automatic friends, and that could be like setting you up with different roommates or like putting you into these like random clubs. And like, I would say the one thing is don't worry about making friends, because college is a bigger world than high school, and it's much easier to make friends there that are like more of your people.
I see. I remember when I was in high school, and I thought, okay, after college, I will not work as hard as in high school. And then, but when I entered like college, I feel every student works really hard. I said, oh my God, there's no difference.
Yeah. I mean, like coming from River Hill, I didn't really feel there was much more work in college, but I didn't really feel overwhelmed by the work. It was just like it just felt like high school with more freedom. um, but I definitely think like college is probably like one of the best experiences in the world to me. And leaving home or leaving college early because of COVID just made me realize that like I definitely like took some things for granted at college, but you know, it's something that you definitely want to take it all in and let it sink in, because you won't have this experience again. So
I see.
yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks for your time to share with us. Do you have a closing remarks?
Um Honestly, I don't really have much to say. But I mean, thank you for having me, and I really hope this project does some good for the county.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate that. And for our audience, thank you very much for tuning in. Please subscribe to Dr. Tao's YouTube channel. I will continue to interview our graduates who graduated from Howard County Public School System. I hope their experience will help our school system and help our current students. Thank you very much, Robin.
Yeah, no
Bye-bye.
problem. Thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye-bye.